Thanks again, everyone, for coming. The recent history of the Board of Commissioners in Walker County probably started around 2012 when Dr. Paul Shaw ran against BB High School for sole commissioner of Walker County. Dr. Shaw made this one of his top issues in his campaign against Commissioner High School. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but he came very close. And after that, the issue percolated. It percolated with the Tea Party, and then it started percolating in the Republican Party over the last, from 2012 to 2014 and into 2015. And in October 2015, the Republican Party, the county committee of the Republican Party, voted unanimously to put a question on the ballot, a straw question on the May 2016 ballot to ask if people wanted to go from a sole commissioner to a board of commissioners. And when the vote was held, 75.2% of the voters in the primary in May 2016 voted for a board. They wanted a board of commissioners, not a sole commissioner. So after that, and in fact, that question got more votes than current Commissioner Whitfield. It got more than Senator Mullis. Got more votes than a lot of other people in the county. So it was a very popular question. And one of the things that came out of that was people said, well, not a lot of people voted. Well, not exactly true, because more people voted in that primary than normally vote in a normal primary. We usually get about 3,300 people voting in a primary, and there was a lot more than that. There was several thousand more than that. So this question was one of the things that piqued people's interest and got people to the polls. Well, in October 2016, I was appointed the head of committee, and there's a number of the people here that were on this committee. We started looking at what form of government could we transition Walker County from a sole commissioner to a board of commissioners. We spent a couple of months looking at different types of governments. And we met a couple of times. We went to Dade County, met with Ted Rumley and some of his staff, and we came to the conclusion we did like the Dade County model, which has a chief executive or a chief head of the commission, which will be a full-time employee, plus 4 part-time commissioners. So at the end of December, we wrote up a recommendation. Mr. Kelly from the Tea Party and I took it to Steve Tarvin, representative from Chickamauga, and he reviewed it. And then he went to the legislature in January 2017 and worked with the legislative delegation, Senator Mullis, Representative Deffenbaugh. They worked through that session with the Republican Party. We were down there, back and forth down there several times. And in March of 2016, we took a van load of folks down there. I don't think they've ever had that before. And showed up outside of Senator Mullis's office. Then we went in and talked to the senator and both representatives about the bill and how the bill was going and what was in the bill. And in March 2016 or 17, the local act, which is a piece of legislation geared just for Walker County, passed. And so they put a referendum on the ballot to let you vote this November whether you want to stay with the sole commissioner or you want to go to a board of commissioners. Now the form of government, the full-time employee would be the chairman of the commission. There's 4 part-time commissioners. Those districts were drawn up by the reapportionment office of the Georgia General Assembly. They drew them up by population, and within a couple hundred people, there are usually about 17,200 people in each district. They weren't drawn up by landmass because the Rossville district is small in landmass compared to some of the other districts, but they all have the same population. So, and then last month, the Republican Party unanimously approved backing this referendum on the ballot. Now, there's a ballot committee chaired by Dale Powell from Chickamauga, Jim Powell. They're about advocating for this. The Republican Party will advocate for this until the election, and we hope it's voted in. And a few of the reasons why we think this is important to have a board of commissioners, we want more accountability in government. We've seen in the past with a sole commissioner form of government that one person can do whatever they want, really. Also, there'll be checks and balances in this form of government. For example, in this form of government, the chairman of the commission will have a $25,000 limit on what they can spend without commission approval. Whereas right now, the commissioner can spend whatever he chooses to spend. You know, the other night on TV when we were talking about this, a lady called in and said, well, he's got a self-imposed limit, which that's true. Maybe he has a self-imposed limit, but there's nothing in the statute right now that keeps him from spending money. Whereas under a board of commissioners, if the chairman of the commission wanted to spend $300,000 on road equipment, he or she can only spend $25,000, and they would have to get approval for the rest of it from the commission. The 4 part-time commissioners will make $12,000 a year. They do not have insurance benefits. They do not have retirement benefits for the county. No money from the county would be spent on that. They can buy into that if they want to buy into it. but they would have to buy into it. It's not anything they're going to be given in the county, so that was important, not to spend money on those kind of benefits for the commissioners. They will have some incidental expenses like maybe cell phones, things like that, but those will all be accounted for, and they'll be part of an audit every year with the Board of Commissioners. So that's kind of a history, kind of a general.
Mr. Cameron, that's